Hi, I'm Laurie Jacob and this is your Park Life Sport Bulletin at 3 o'clock. It's a big weekend of rugby ahead with the opening round of the Six Nations. I caught up with ex-Gloucestershire Live rugby correspondent Katie Homewood ahead of England's Calcutta Cup match with Scotland.
Gloucester fans will be really happy with their players on international duty in the opening round of the Six Nations. Let's start off with Scotland and Chris Harris. He starts at outside centre for Scotland and we know what he can do both in defence and attack. Actually, he's not the biggest player, but he can put in a fair few tackles. We've seen that at a lot of Premiership games, so expect him to be very visible during that opening game. And then on the flip side, Johnny May for England, we know what he can do. He's expected to score a lot of tries this tournament, and given any space, he will. So Scotland will know they have to look out for that. And Gloucester fans, if I was you, I'd put some money on Johnny May scoring some tries. He does it for his club, and I'm sure he will do it for his country this weekend.
The Six Nations gets underway tomorrow with the first game between France and Italy. But how does each side fare going into this year's tournament?
England will be looking to retain the Six Nations trophy and will kick off their campaign fighting for the Calcutta Cup against Scotland tomorrow. However, England have already encountered disruptions in their build-up to the tournament with positive COVID tests and head coach Eddie Jones having to self-isolate. England's biggest rivals for the championship will be France, who are facing a huge game at Twickenham on the 13th of March, a game which could decide which way the championship goes. Gloucester's very own Johnny May will be looking to make a big impact and improve on the 2 tries that he managed to score in the tournament last year.
Wales have announced their team news for their upcoming Six Nations 2021 opener against Ireland, and it is confirmed that Newport Gwent Dragons flanker Dan Lyday is starting for Wales for the first time since November 2018. Ospreys lock Alan Wynne-Jones also starts as captain, along with Scarlets fullback Lee Halfpenny and 20-year-old Gloucester player Louis Rees-Zammit. Johnny Williams partners George North in midfield, who is making his 99th appearance for the Dragons. Gareth Davies drops to the substitutes bench, along with Ryan Jones, Talupe Falatu and kicker Dan Bigger come back into the side.
Ireland find themselves in a really interesting position going into the Six Nations. Whilst not being favourites for the tournament, they still have a really strong side. Today they named their lineup to play Wales on Sunday, a team that they eased past in November in the Autumn Nations Cup. The Irish will look to establish dominance early on in the tournament, especially with captain and starman Johnny Sexton back to full fitness.
Last year, Gregor Townsend's Scotland side got off to a slow start in the Six Nations and ended up finishing 4th. They'll be hoping for a better finish this time round. This campaign sees the return of Finn Russell to the side. The fly half hasn't played much rugby recently and withdrew from last year's Six Nations squad due to a breakdown in relationship with Townsend, but he could offer a real threat with his creativity. Also keep an eye out for Gloucester's Chris Harris, who will be hoping to make those involved in the Cherry and Whites proud of his performances. Scotland's campaign gets underway against England tomorrow in the Calcutta Cup.
Without a Six Nations win in the last 5 years, Italy will really want to get off on the right foot this year when they face France in the opening game of the tournament. Sadly for them, every other team seems to be a league above the Italians. The 14th ranked team in the world boasts some degree of talent, but they do seem to be a way off the level of the other teams. One of those gems of talent is Gloucester's Stephen Varney. The scrum half for the Italians tomorrow afternoon will want to impose his own attacking play style on the game and keep his team in the game for as long as possible against that tough French side.
France are real contenders for this year's Six Nations title. They were superb in the Autumn Nations Cup and were really unlucky in that final against England. Their attack has been great and their defence completely transformed since the arrival of Sean Edwards last year, and scrum half Anton Dupont is going to pose a huge attacking threat, making opportunities out of nothing. They looked like Grand Slam winners last year up until their defeat to Scotland, and this year they do pose a huge threat to England as the reigning champions. To find out more on how each team looks heading into this year's campaign, head on over to the Park Life Sport website for the Six Nations Preview podcast. But that's not all the rugby this weekend. Gloucester travel to London Irish in a Premiership, and James Hicks has more on that crucial match for the Cherry and Whites.
Thanks, Lowry. Head coach George Skivington and Gloucester will be facing London Irish tomorrow, a team who he played for during his career. Skivington said he's looking forward to the reunion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing the stadium because I never actually saw it. So, yeah, I mean, look, you know, I was a part of building what they are, where they are now, and over a good few years. And I've got a lot of friends there, and I look forward to seeing them face to face. And I look forward to getting stuck in and having a good game of rugby, hopefully.
Gloucester will be looking to get their first win since November on Saturday and get off the bottom of the Premiership table against London Irish, with new signing Giorgio Kvedsadle set to make his debut for the Cherry and Whites.
Forest Green Rovers picked up a brilliant 2-1 win away at Carlisle United on Tuesday night, and they're on the road again tomorrow, travelling to Nottinghamshire to face Mansfield Town. Our Forest Green correspondent Laurie Martin is with me now. Laurie, you were at Mark Cooper's pre-match press conference. What did he have to say?
Yes, Laurie, a few days on now from that Carlisle victory, but Mark Cooper's still delighted with how his team played. A long old trip up to Cumbria, one of the promotion favourites, but coming away with a victory. And as you just mentioned, on the road again this weekend, Mansfield Town this time. Nigel Clough's side are the most informed team in League Two. And Cooper knows that hunting for 3 points at the high-flying Stags won't be an easy task. And it could be made even more difficult by the state of Mansfield's pitch. Their game against Bolton Wanderers on Tuesday night was called off due to a waterlogged surface. Cooper is aware that the pitch might not be in great shape, and he said that he might even leave his team selection to the last minute based on what the pitch is like.
We're not looking for any excuses. Whatever the pitch is, we have to play on it. Wherever the game is, if it's on tarmac, whatever it is, there's no excuses from us. We'll have to adapt to that, and we'll have to fight. It might affect my team selection when I see the pitch, but we'll wait and see.
And finally, England finished on 263 for 3 on the first day of the first test against India in Chennai, losing a key wicket of Dom Sibley in the final over before the close of play. Joe Root marked his 100th test with his third 100 in a row and will resume on 128 in the morning, with England looking to build on a strong lead with Ben Stokes and Josh Butler still to bat. That's been your Park Life Sport Bulletin at 3.